Jennifer Chen hadn't expected her first day aboard the Meridian station to involve confronting an alien child in Corridor 7, but the universe had a way of defying expectations. The Kaleth boy, no more than 7 in human years, stood blocking her path, his crystalline eyes reflecting the sterile blue lighting overhead. His skin shimmered with the characteristic iridescence of his species, like oil on water, shifting between purples and greens. "You are Jennifer Chen," the boy stated in perfect English, his translator implant humming softly at his throat. Jennifer stopped, her datapad nearly slipping from her hands. She'd been on the station for exactly 4 hours. "How do you know my name?" "My mother knows you, human." The boy's head tilted in that distinctly alien way, almost owl-like. "She speaks of you often." A chill ran down Jennifer's spine. The Kaleth were a reclusive species, having only opened diplomatic channels with humanity 3 years ago. Jennifer had never met one before today, let alone formed a relationship significant enough to be discussed with their children. "I think you have me confused with someone else," Jennifer said carefully, attempting to step around him. The boy moved with surprising speed, blocking her again. "No confusion. You saved her life. Ganymede Station, 4 cycles ago." Jennifer's breath caught. 4 years ago. The accident. "What's your mother's name?" she whispered. "Shaluri of the Third Dawn." The datapad clattered to the floor. 4 years earlier, Ganymede Station. Alex Rodriguez had been the first to notice the breach alarm in the xenobiology wing. As chief engineer, he'd sprinted through the corridors while others were still processing the warning klaxons. "Chen, we've got a rupture in Lab 7, he'd shouted into his comm. Jennifer, then a rookie medical technician, had grabbed her emergency kit without hesitation. "How many inside?" "3. One's non-human. Kaleth researcher on the Cultural Exchange Program." They'd reached the lab to find chaos. The viewport had cracked during a micrometeorite shower, and although the emergency seals had engaged, one of the scientists, a Kaleth woman, had been struck by debris. She was convulsing, her bioluminescent blood pooling beneath her. "She's going into shock," Jennifer had yelled, dropping beside the alien. "Alex, I need you to hold her steady." "Chen, you don't know Kaleth physiology. Neither does anyone else on this station." Jennifer's hands were already moving, her scanner reading out data she barely understood. The Kaleth woman's 3 hearts were failing in sequence, a cascade that would kill her in minutes. Jennifer had made a choice that haunted her nightmares and her proudest moments in equal measure. Using her human medical knowledge, her intuition, and sheer desperate determination, she'd adapted human trauma protocols to an alien physiology she'd only read about in textbooks. "Their cardiovascular system is redundant," she'd muttered, more to herself than Alex. "If I can stabilize the primary heart, the others should follow." It had been the longest 15 minutes of her life. Alex had assisted, his strong hands following her every instruction without hesitation, trusting her completely, even when her voice shook with uncertainty. When the Kaleth woman had finally stabilized, her eyes had flickered open, focusing on Jennifer with an intensity that transcended species. "Thank you," Shaluri had whispered in halting English, her translator damaged. "You gift my child, mother?" Jennifer hadn't understood then. The Kaleth had been evacuated within hours, the exchange program suspended pending safety reviews. Jennifer had never seen her again, never learned if she'd fully recovered. Until now. Present day, Meridian Station. "Take me to her," Jennifer said, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. The boy, what had Shaluri called him, nodded solemnly and began walking. Jennifer followed, her mind reeling. She passed Alex in the main corridor, now the station's operations director, his eyes widening when he saw her escort. "Jen, is everything—" "It's Ganymede," she said simply. Understanding flooded Alex's face, and he fell into step beside them. The Kaleth diplomatic quarters occupied an entire wing, environmentally controlled for their specific needs. The boy led them to a door that shimmered with holographic patterns, then pressed his small hand against the panel. Shal-Uri stood in the center of the room, older now, but unmistakable. Her skin had deepened to a rich amethyst, and she moved with a grace that spoke of complete recovery. "Jennifer Chen," Shal-Uri said, her voice resonant and clear, "and Alex Rodriguez. I had hoped our paths would cross again." You recovered," Jennifer breathed. "I survived, because a human refused to accept my death as inevitable." Shal-Uri approached, her movements formal and deliberate. "My people have a tradition. When one saves a life, they become part of that family's story. My son knows your name before he knows the names of our own heroes, because you are our hero." Tears prickled Jennifer's eyes. "I was just doing my job." "No." Shal-Uri's crystalline eyes met hers. "You did what others thought impossible. The Kaleth physicians who examined me said I should have died. No Kaleth healer could have saved me with such limited knowledge. But a human did. A human who saw a person, not an alien. A human who refused to give up." Alex spoke, his voice thick with emotion. "That's what we do. Humans don't leave people behind, any people." Shal-Uri inclined her head, a gesture of profound respect. "This is why my people have voted to join the Terran Alliance. Because humans don't just save themselves, they save everyone." The boy moved to his mother's side, and Shal-Uri placed a hand on his shoulder. "His name is Genral, named for the human who gave me the chance to raise him. In our language, it means hope against darkness." Jennifer couldn't speak. She looked at Alex, saw her own wonder reflected in his eyes, then back at the Kaleth mother and child who represented something bigger than one desperate rescue in a damaged lab. They represented why humanity reached for the stars. Not to conquer, but to connect. Not to dominate, but to help, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. "Thank you," Jennifer finally managed, "for remembering." "We will never forget," Shal-Uri promised. "Humanity taught the universe something important that day. That compassion requires no translation.